Faith Kidnection kids. Charlotte and I are back. We are going to continue this week with the story of Elijah. We're adding a new character, Naaman. I know Dustin talked about Elijah last week. So we're going to open in prayer and thank God for letting us be here today and hear the story. And then we'll get started, okay? We've got a really fun game to start this out. So let's bow our heads and pray. Jesus, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today and to hear another one of your stories and lessons. We hope that we are able to enjoy this time. And thank you for the lesson it brings. In your name I pray. Amen. All right. So we have a game that we're going to play. And I'm going to read a story. And we're going to hear this story. And it's about the families, the silly family. So the sillies are some silly folks. You think? Probably based on their name. They sometimes get mixed up when they're doing things around the house and taking care of each other. So I am going to read a story about the sillies. Say hi. Elliot joined us. So I'm going to read a story about the sillies, and we're going to follow along and laugh a little bit about how they kind of interact with each other, okay? So as I'm reading the story, Charlotte, I'm going to have you open our secret bags here to reveal the items that the sillies use around the house, okay? So we're going to start out with Mother Silly. Mother Silly coughed and coughed. Please bring me something to stop this cough, she asked her kids. This is what they brought. All right, Charlotte, pick out the green bag and open it and show us what's inside. All these are probably going to fall. Slide it out real carefully. All right, what's in our green bag?
I don't know. Nothing.
There's something in there. Pull it out.
There is?
Yes. What is that?
A Band-Aid. Who would use Band-Aids to stop the cough?
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. That is so silly, isn't it? All right, put the Band-Aid back. And we're going to move on to the next member of the Sillies family, Tilly. Tilly cut her hand. I don't know how she cut her hand. Oh, but Mother did not want it to get infected. You know what infected means? Sick. She didn't want the cut to get sick. So she asked Willie to get something to rub on it. All right, Charlotte, why don't you open our red bag and see if Willie picked the right thing this time. See if Willie's a little bit smarter.
Who would use this?
Is that going to treat a sick wound if it's infected?
No.
Probably not. Oh my goodness. Silly Willie. So, we're going to move on to Baby Jilly. Ugh, Baby Jilly felt so warm. Mother wondered if she had a fever. So she asked Tilly to get something to help her find out if Jilly had a fever. All right, check out what's in the blue bag. See if Tilly has any sense. Go ahead. What's in our blue bag? Is that something you use to check to see if your baby had a fever? What is it? Show them what it is.
It's cough drops.
Is that going to tell them if the baby had the fever?
No.
Oh my gosh, these sillies. All right, let's move on. See if they get any better. Willie cut his leg. Oh my gosh, they keep cutting themselves. Willie cut his leg. So Mother asked Father, maybe Father knows a little bit better, to get something to put on it because it was bleeding. All right, let's see if the black bag has something in it that could help with a bleeding cut. What is that going to do for a bleeding cut?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Uh-oh, Baby Jilly did have a fever. Oh no. So Father asked the children to get some medicine for fevers. All right, we got one bag left. Do you think the children could pick something out that would treat a fever? Doesn't look good, does it? What is that?
I don't.
It's Neosporin. It's like antibiotic cream for a cut. Oh my gosh, these sillies. That is just so silly. They are just all mixed up, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back through and let's pick out each of our sacks and see what in there what we could actually use those for. So pick a sack and let's talk about it.
Okay. I'm gonna do eeny, meeny, miny.
All right, let's pick a sack.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by its toe. If he calls, let it go. My mom fish so you are it.
All right, what's in the red bag? All right, so what would that do? Out of all the things we talked about, would that treat a cut? Would that help something stop bleeding?
No.
Would that help with a fever?
No. Wait, yes.
Yeah, that's ibuprofen. So that could help with baby Jilly's fever, right? All right, let's pick another sack. So let's not do eeny, meeny, miny, mo this time. Close your eyes and just pick one.
Why?
Close your eyes and just put your hand on one. Pick it up. No. All right, what's in the yellow bag?
Popcorn?
I wish. What is that?
Antibiotic cream?
Yeah, that's the cream that would help, right? So what would that help with?
It'd help for a cut.
Right, so that could help Tilly's cut on her hand because Mom was worried about it getting sick, right? Getting infected?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's pick another bag.
Eeny,
No, just pick one up. There's only 3 left. So hard. Pick one up. How about this black one here? What's in the black one? What's that?
It's a thermometer.
Right. So that would probably help out with what?
A fever?
That would help us tell if baby Jilly has a fever, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're starting to finally put this together for the Sillies families, aren't we? All right, we got 2 bags left. This one and this one. So open those up.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
No, just open one. At this point, my goodness, these Sillies. All right, what are those?
Cough drop?
Those are those cough drops. So what could that help with?
Those could help with the coffee cough.
Yeah.
That was Lily's cough.
Yes, the poor mama's cough. So we can finally help this poor mama with her cough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's one left. What's in our green sack?
Hey!
What is it?
A Band-Aid.
That
I want
Band-Aid.
to rip it open.
So what's that gonna do? What's that gonna do for the Sillies?
Gonna help a cut.
That's right. So that can help with the bleeding cut, right? All right, now that we've set these Sillies straight, let's talk about how these things are things that we help treat sicknesses, right? So if you get sick or you get a cut, these are all things we can use to help with that, right?
Yeah.
Right. But God is the one that often helps us use these things to get better. So we have to remember that God's always watching out for us, and He's giving us the tools that we need to help make each other better, right? Yes. So in today's story, the story is about someone that's very sick, and Elijah helps him. God helps him through Elijah, okay? So our story is in 2 Kings. So it is in the Old Testament. I'm going to show you in our Bible. Charlotte, you want to do our Bible rhyme while I find this? Do you remember it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do our Bible rhyme with everybody.
This is our Bible. We open it wide. We hear God's stories that are written inside.
Good job. So our story today is in 2 Kings chapter 5. So it's towards the beginning of the book, and it's verses 1 through 16. So So we're talking about Elijah and we're talking about Naaman. And Naaman was a commander of an army. And he was pretty much one of the head honchos in the king's army, okay? So he was pretty high up. He was a pretty important man, right? Well, back in that time, they had a disease called leprosy that they really worried about. And leprosy is a pretty big word for basically they were sick and it caused sores on their skin, okay? So they got really sick and they got these wounds. They got these cuts and sores all over their skin. And it was very contagious. You know what contagious means?
Bad.
It's bad. It also means that if I had it, I could give it to you really easily just by you being around me, okay? So this is something that everyone really worried about, this leprosy. So our story is about Naaman and Elijah. Naaman was an important ruler. He's a strong and brave man. He was commander of the king's army, but he was also very sick. He had that terrible disease called leprosy. So this ruler, this commander, got sick with the disease, okay? So he was probably really scared, right? So Naaman went to many doctors for help, but none of them could help because leprosy was something that they didn't have a cure for. They didn't have medicine for, okay? So none of the doctors could help him get well again. He felt very sad. In Naaman's house, there lived a little servant girl who worked for Naaman's wife. This little girl was one of God's people. So it's like you. Someone like you worked in Naaman's house, okay? But she also, she was one of God's people. As she watched her master, Naaman, grow sicker and sicker, she had an idea. Perhaps God could make Naaman well again. When she had a chance, she talked to Naaman's wife. If only Naaman would go to visit Elijah, God's prophet, perhaps he could be healed. And that's just what Naaman did. He took several servants and he traveled in his great chariot filled with rich gifts for Elijah. So could you imagine getting in your really nice, big, fancy car and you have all these presents for Elijah because you're going to go and you're going to say, Elijah, please heal me so that I don't get sicker and sicker. So he gets in the car with all his servants and all these gifts and he travels to see Elijah. But when Naaman got to Elijah's house, Elijah sent his servant out to the chariot with a message for Naaman. So Elijah never even left his house to go talk to Naaman. Naaman just pulled up and Elijah sent his servant out to talk to him. Do you think that kind of upset Naaman? Do you think that kind of hurt his feelings if Elijah never even came to talk to him? Yeah, I think it did. He got pretty upset by it. But the servant that came out to the car or the chariot, it's not a car. They had chariots, what they call it, that either an animal pulled or people probably picked up and carried around with him that Naaman rode in. The servant had a message from Elijah. He said, "Go to the Jordan River and wash in it 7 times. Then you will be healed." The Jordan River was a really, really yucky brown river. You know our pond out back, Charlotte, how gross the water is, and it's got kind of like, it's got algae growing in it. It looks pretty yucky. Could you imagine going and taking a bath in that?
It'd be fun.
Well, if you had like sores on your skin and stuff, it probably wouldn't be a very good idea, right? So the servant told Naaman that Elijah said, "Go to the river and wash in it 7 times and you will be healed." Well, Naaman was very angry. He was angry because Elijah first sent a servant to talk to him instead of coming to talk to him himself. And he was really mad because he did not want to go wash in a dirty old river, especially with all these sores on him, right? I wouldn't want to either. "I won't do it, and that's that," he said. "I sure didn't come all this way to wash in a dirty river." But Naaman's servant begged him to try. He said, please just try it. Elijah knows what he's talking about. Please just try it." Finally, Naaman agreed. Okay. So he waded into the river and he began to dunk himself in the dirty water. What do you think the dunk looked like when he said he dunked himself? You think he held his nose or?
I think he did this.
Yeah, he probably had that look on his face too, right? And he did it 7 times. So he did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. When Naaman climbed out of the river, he looked at his skin. He said, the leprosy was gone. After he washed in that dirty river like he was told to, the leprosy was gone. His skin was healthy again. He felt better. Naaman was amazed. He climbed back into his chariot and went back to see Elijah. Your God is powerful. Now I know that there's only one God who can heal. Thank you. Elijah smiled as he watched Naaman ride away, praising God. All right. So, can you show us again how Naaman probably dunked himself in that dirty river? Let's count it as you do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you think he did it fast? Probably. He did, and then he was healed, just as God said he would be. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Is God's real name Elijah?
No, God was working through Elijah. That's a pretty good story. So what's something you think we can learn from the story today?
God has medicine to help us.
Huh?
God has medicine to help us.
That's right. God is medicine to help us. That's pretty smart, Charlotte. He loves us so much that he is always looking over us and taking care of us. And that's why he puts doctors and nurses and mommies and daddies and people on this earth that are smart enough and know exactly what to do to help heal us and make us better, right? So we are very thankful for them. All right. You want to bow our heads and thank God for this story and the lesson that we learned today? Jesus, thank you again so much for the story of Elijah and Naaman and letting us, through this story, know that you're always here to help protect us and keep us safe and to look over us when we are ill. And in your name I pray. Amen. All right. Thank you, Faith Kidnection kids, for joining us again. We'll see you again in a couple weeks. Oh.